What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this is a very special update actually, and it quite came out of the blue, I will say, and I actually never thought I was going to tell you guys this, but here's the thing. I am actually going to make my own fighting game. Now how does this game to be? Now my brother was already actually working on a video game. And so when he was telling me about it, I was so interested in it because one of my biggest personal wishes was always to make a video game of my own, and that obviously never came to be because back in the day it wasn't that easy. But nowadays, you basically have all sorts of, you know, uh, programs, if you will, that you can use to make your own video games with. Now, of course, each program works different, so it kind of depends what you want to go for, obviously. But now my brother is going to install a system for me, so that I can start developing. And what I want to do, what I like to do, is to create my own fighting game. And I'm already working on the preview sketches, as it goes, and some lore details. I don't want to make stuff too complicated on that department because I actually want to go back to the old school ways, even though it's going to be a 3D fighting game. If it comes on storytelling, I want to go more like what you get back in the day at the arcade games, that you have a simplified, for example, ending, what you always had, just some lore details about the character, or maybe some sort of CGI sequence, and that shows kind of, his or her salvation on the tournament, what they have won, for example. So that's what I want to go for with my game. Also, I want to make my game as grounded as possible. So it will be based on existing, fighting styles, things like that. So that's why I always find very interesting about Virtua Fighter, for instance. So that doesn't mean to say that it's going to be, with any fantastical details. I'm sure I will get some ideas along the way to get into the game, but as for now, I want to focus on, a more, how do you say, a straightforward combat system. Still having, some combos in there for the ones who like it. But I don't want to make the game, to rely on these things because we already have seen a lot of modern fighters, for instance, that are way too much pandering to the professional players online and all these tournaments, and that's not what I'm interested in. So the characters that I design with their styles will stay exactly, the same as they were introduced in the game, and I'm not going to nerf them or boost them up or whatever, unless that there is a specific reason for whenever there was a glitch in something or whatever, But with that out of the way, I like to go for a roster between the 8 up to 10, maybe at the end with some DLC, 15 characters or so. I think that's more than enough. And what's the the unique kind of thing with my game will be is that the fighters in general are basically all these kind of loners, they are outsiders, each for their own reasons. But something is binding them together to actually, start a tournament. And I said I'm still writing things, so I don't want to spoil too much at the moment. But yeah, each character has its own, values and things like that. Why they are fighting for. Some of them are exiled, some of them are, you know, loners on purpose. So, but all the fighters will be mature intended. So that's what I find very important because of the storytelling in itself. Each character must have a personality of their own. And in a lot of fighting games, especially in the modern ones, I think that they most characters don't really matter to me all that much. They're just added in there to have a bigger roster or something, and that is what I don't like. Now, if it comes on the combat system, yeah, as I said, I want to keep it a bit more grounded, not too high jumps, if you will. So, in that regard, it will be a bit more like a virtual fighter, like classic Mortal Kombat-ish, I would say. Although Mortal Kombat you could obviously jump a bit higher than realistically wise, but if it comes on the fighting mechanics, then I think that the original Mortal Kombat was actually pretty accurate in a sense on the way of fighting, and I like that a lot. Now, my overall idea is to make it free for when I want to release it. That the game is obviously free to try for everybody. That you have a couple of characters to choose from, a couple of stages, and when the final product is finished, I obviously want to make a very reasonably priced for everything. So also the DLC what will follow on characters, for example, will be very not expensive at all. So I want to keep the cost as low as possible because I'm doing it for fun, from the passion. And for me, that it's more important that because my drawing style in itself gets more exposure by that and the music of my brother as well, because he's going to do a metal orientated soundtrack for it. So that's going to be really awesome. So yeah, what's more to tell? Now I do have some other genres in mind I'd like to do, maybe some sort of arcade-ish racing game, for example, or anything hack and slash alike that also has to do with combat system. But what I'm not interested in is making RPG games because they are not really substantial for me, because we see with modern RPGs that they are very lackluster in a way, not because of the politics alone, but also what I notice from streamers. They when RPG comes along, even if it's a really good one, they play the game and then that's that. It's never being talked about again. Mostly they go well to another game. Now obviously that's not what I'm aiming at, of course, but it's still a thing to think about because I want to make games that keep you invested as a player. Because if you look at Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, even though especially the reputation of Mortal Kombat isn't the best these days, and even Street Fighter has a bit of issues that that has a divided group of gamers that don't like the classics more, which I do understand. I find it important to keep things as classic and valuable as possible, and especially fighting games are always fun to play, no matter how old they are or how new they are. And an RPG game simply, although we have the classics, like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, for instance, that those are the real RPG classics. These games in itself are, for me, not worth the effort to make, because of the fact it's not going to play a lot anymore, because when people have played them, they kind of vanish in a way. So at least that is my experience, because I noticed that myself when I play RPG games. I don't really feel the need to play them all the way through. For example, they bore me on sort main quest, so there has to be a real reason that I'm going to like it. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was a game that I recently got into, and I really like that one. So I'm going to play that basically just for myself, offline, and enjoy the story for myself. And I think that Dragon Age 2 was one of the only RPG games, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, especially the second one, that I played multiple times, and that's what makes the game, fun. Because Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, that was because of the PC mods, the sort altering quote unquote quests that you get was very nice that they added in there, so that kept the game fresh. But on console, that you sadly don't have that. So, but yeah, I think that you guys get my point of what I'm trying to say, because fighting games, racing games, those are the two genres that always, keeps the fun alive for the most part. But fighting games in general for me, because I play a lot of them, older ones, newer ones, like the less known one, for example, is King of Fighters. I really really like that game, and it's so varied on characters, that they feel different. And that's what I always like about fighting games. Even Dead or Alive, it's always good to have a laugh with, because it's not all that, how you say, super serious as, like, for example, the other fight games like Virtua Fighter and such. So it's always nice to have games that that complement each other, and I think that fighting games do that the best. Because also the other genres like racing games, they are seriously lacking these days, and I find that a huge problem. But I also understand why that is, because you have it's very hard to make a racing game that compels to a lot of people, and I think fighting games in that sense are a bit more, more fun for people to play, I think. So that's basically the news that I wanted to tell you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and obviously I will keep you all informed about this on the channel, and I see you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you around. Peace out.